One of the patterns that like my wife and I get taught is about rupture and repair. And rupture is not the end of the world. It's an opportunity to repair. And in some cases, there's like a strategic rupture that needs to happen so you can build the relationship back in a proper manner. Right. Sort of like, like breaking a bone to set it correctly sort of thing. How are you coaching your client duos on where that starts? Because when you get to pretty, strong-willed, high achievers, driven individuals, they can say like, well, I'm in the right. I've done this, and maybe I did this small thing, but like it's on them to do this. Like it's my company versus like I'm trying to help you. Where do you get started on something like that?
It's a really good question. It's a common issue. Like recently, I got referred to a Visionary-Integrator, and I met with the implementer and just said, hey, like, are they both open to coaching? And he said no. I'm like, okay, well, pretty hard to do what I call marriage counseling if one person won't come to the table. I'll just tell a quick story back to the marriage example, because I think there's so many overlaps. I was listening to a podcast the other day with my wife, and he was talking about this very thing. You can get into this kind of cycle of battle, right? And like, how do you break out of it? And he said that, somebody needs to humble themselves, right? Like somebody needs to stop, and say, hey, you know what? I have a part in this. I'm sorry. I did this and I shouldn't have done this or whatever. Right. And the question in the podcast was who should do that? Like who should be the one to humble themselves? And he asked the crowd, and one of the people said, the husband should lead. He should do that. Right. And someone else said the woman, and he said, no, the one that's more mature.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. Right. And it was interesting because it's like,
now it's a competition.
Yeah. I want to be the one that's more mature. Right. I want to be the one that's going to set the example. And I don't know, it was a really good perspective. You shouldn't use that as a prideful thing. Right. But somebody just needs to own it. Right. Somebody needs to be like, you know what, this isn't working. It's not good for our company. We need help.